Hello, this is a hopefully a helpful video for walking through the Carol of the Bells version. Very famous Christmas piece. This was arranged by Amy Hite in one of her books, Christmas Music for Easy Classical Guitar. She has two books. This book is slightly harder than her other. So it's typically a year after. Students first year can play from her first book, and students typically second year, if they're practicing pretty good, can play through this book. So this is a walkthrough. So it starts with the typical G, F sharp sequence. This is mostly an E minor for pieces. And that's not going to be too much of a trouble. Maybe a nice mezzo forte there for volume wise. Measure 5. The trick here is going to be preparing the descending bass line while maintaining the melody. That's why they're recommending finger 4 for the G. 3 on the G is possible, but it causes the wrist to rotate a little excessively. So try to go for 4. Lift up for the D, C and G. And those bass notes should all be prepared, well prepared in advance. That bass line to be smooth. That happens twice. Measure 13. You get this ascending part. So free stroke makes sense because you've got the low E there too. It makes sense to shift to second position here. First finger for the C sharp. That puts 1 on the F sharp, 2 on the G. Slide up to 5. A, B, A, G. Instead of going back to G in 3rd fret, just play it on string 2, fret 8. So that happens twice. We may want to mess with the dynamics there. Everything that repeats multiple times, you should change the dynamics or the tone or something so it doesn't get too boring. Measure 17. The next 4-bar phrase, you return to the descending bass line section. Measure 21, climax of the piece, you finally hit the high E. Now here, Miss Hite changes the melody a little bit. Typically I hear it this way. We're going to go with her version. This is a video on her arrangement. So you start with the high E, simultaneous E's. Now this is a good chance to practice your descending slurs or pull-offs. I don't play with my fingers behind the neck like this, but this is just to demonstrate. The pull-off. Pull-off on string 1 is the easiest one. You can use a lot of force, and make sure the pull-off is nice and clear. Slide down to C. For the 4, you can do another pull-off, C to B. And then B to C. Sorry, B to A. On that measure 25, she recommends playing the G. String 2 makes sense. back at 21, we have the sequence again. You need to put the bass notes in there. They're all open strings, not too tricky. Measure 25, we go back to the ascending section. Same fingerings as before. We can discuss some tone color changes in lessons. 29, you go back to the motif. It says pianissimo here, so maybe tasto. Actually, because you'll already be in 5th position from the previous section, so if you start at 25 to measure 27, for example, this is where you are going into measure 29. So you can keep playing there. Or if you want a little cross string sound, I kind of like this, up to you. You get to hear the G and the E at the same time, so it's kind of a nice, that minor third is a nice touch to the piece. Not normally heard in melodic instruments, but guitar can do it. So there's a right hand fingering that's useful for this. You want to avoid the string crossing if you want this string crossover. You wouldn't want to do this, for example. Too much hand movement. In my. I on the first string is a string crossing. Smarter to use A. Then you went up at 33. They just jumped down an octave. All on the 4th string. So G on string 4. And they jump down another octave. She's written slurs here for this octave as well. Good thing to practice. We should try to throw that in. There is a repeat back to measure 5. 9. 13. 17. 21. 25. 27. 29. 33. There's a retard at the very end, the second time through. Don't do it upon the first repeat. And also at the very end, there's E minor chord. Play that how you like, but everybody enjoys harmonics at the end. It always sounds nice. Block. Or roll the E minor chord for a nice touch. Okay, I hope that is very helpful. Look forward to working with you on this in lessons. Happy practicing.